Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first ever virtual World Federation of Hemophilia Twinning event. We're so thrilled you're here with us today. We're looking forward to a great time talking about twinning. My name is Jayson Stoffman. I'm in Winnipeg, Canada, and I am the chair of the Treatment Center Twinning Committee.
Hello, my name is Deniece Chevannes. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm the chair of the Hemophilia Organization Twinning Committee. We will be your moderators for this session. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few housekeeping items so you know how to participate in today's event. At any time during this session, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions to today's presenters. To do so, just type your questions into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Now, we probably won't have time to answer your questions during this session. However, there will be a twinning lounge right after this session where we will be there to address your questions. So please stick around. Now, I would love to know where everyone is from. If you would please type in the chat box what country you're visiting us from.
So I'm kind of watching it. I know we have one box, the Q&A box, but if you want to use that to type where you're from, that would be great. I'm looking at the names of people who are online. Currently, it's showing there's almost 60 people watching us. Lots of great
Hello,
names from lots of
from
countries.
Canada. Dawn, hi Dawn from the US, Italy, France, the Netherlands, all places I would love to go visit right now. The UK's here, USA, Ireland. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Thank you, guys. Please keep putting in your where you're from so that we can keep track of that and say hi. And remember that after the session, we'll have the lounge so you can keep typing your questions into this box.
Perfect. No, it's great to see so many people, familiar names and new names, and it's great. And it's the power of the virtual Congress is that we can all get together from all over the place at the same time, which is amazing. I'd like to show you the agenda for today. It's a fairly packed hour. So we're going to start with a welcome from Pfizer, who sponsors and has been a long-term sponsor of the twinning program. And then move on to celebrate our Twins of the Year for the last couple of years for both the treatment center and the organizations. And then we have a couple of live presentations, one on from a treatment center perspective on how we carry on in the time of COVID, and one for the organizational perspective on similar lines. And then finally, Luisa from the WFH will speak a little bit about the future of the twinning program. So we're looking forward to lots of great information, lots of great celebrations of accomplishments in twinning. So why don't we'll get started now. To start it off, I'd like to welcome Mr. Matthew Harold, who's the Director of Corporate Affairs at Pfizer, who, as I said, are the longstanding sponsor of our twinning program. So welcome, and thanks for being with us this morning.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here. Twinning is something that's near and dear to my heart, and so it's a pleasure to be able to represent Pfizer, but also to be able to talk to you guys about why, not only personally, but for Pfizer, why this program is so important for us. So since 2001, so we're almost at 20 years, which is amazing to think. Pfizer's been a supporter of the WFH Twinning program, and we're proud of that history together and demonstrating the ongoing commitment to improving the lives of those with hemophilia and bleeding disorders. We really recognize that proper hemophilia care spans beyond the traditional seeing a hematologist and factor replacements, and we want to work in partnership, and we do work in partnership with the World Federation of Hemophilia to support really culturally relevant and sustainable programs that can help address all aspects of a hemophilia patient's healthcare needs. So for me, twinning is so important because if you look at the world today and being an American and looking at what's happening in the US, twinning looks to establish connections. It looks to break down barriers. It looks to break down walls. And in this interesting, crazy world that is COVID, and we're all trying to work through this COVID-19 pandemic, twinning is a way to bring people together, people who might not have had the opportunity to know each other, to connect. And so you'll hear examples of that later in the program. And I'm looking forward to hearing about some of the great work that's been happening both at the treatment centers, but also at the patient organization level. I think if twinning teaches us something, it's especially it teaches us that hemophilia is an investment that can immediately improve the healthcare of constituents. That twinning helps. It helps countries, helps governments, help policymakers to see the importance of investing in comprehensive hemophilia care to improve outcomes. And I think it's so important, especially in the context of the COVID-19 situation, where as we're seeing this unravel throughout the world, even in some of the most developed countries, I'm based in the UK, and in some of the most developed countries in the world, you see the fragility of healthcare systems. And that's not even taking into account some of the developing countries who are still, in the midst or not even reached the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we need twinning now more than ever. And I can assure you of Pfizer's commitment to support the twinning program, because we need to ensure that those dialogues can happen. We need to ensure that that sharing of expertise can happen cross-culturally, and that countries can come together, can learn from one another. Because as we've learned from this pandemic, fragility of healthcare systems is not an issue that extends to one country or another. It's something that we're all learning about. So I do believe that twinning is especially as we move into these new uncharted waters, twinning will be a pivotal opportunity for us to help understand and to learn from one another, because we will need to learn from one another. I think, as we've seen from history, the developing world often has been subjected to pandemics of this nature. And so there actually is a lot that we can learn from the developing world around contact tracing and other issues like that. And so I think twinning will play a fundamental role in this, and it is a reason why I'm so happy to be here representing Pfizer, but to ensure you of Pfizer's commitment towards the twinning program, because it will have a pivotal role. And as we think about the future and looking to bridge to new therapies, we recognize also the importance of programs like this, which aim to ensure that innovative medicines like cell and gene therapies have the opportunity to one day be successful and be implemented in all over the world, and so that geography does not dictate access. So it's our hope to see the twinning program can continue strongly, and pick up after the COVID-19 pandemic. And so much looking forward to hearing the wonderful words that we'll hear from some of our twins. But again, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here, and looking forward to the rest of the session. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you very much. It's great to, we so much appreciate the support of Pfizer. And I really loved what you said, actually looking at kind of what's happening with COVID as an example of why twinning is so important. We're seeing the value of sharing knowledge, sharing expertise, which has always been the fundamental point of twinning programs, is working together to share and to improve healthcare around the world for hemophilia, but now we see the broader application. So now it's my great pleasure to present the winners of the Hemophilia Treatment Center Twins of the Year for both 2018 and 2019. Normally we'd recognize them in person and have them share a little bit about their twinning. In our current situation, we have a video that we're thrilled to show you now.
Je suis le professeur Sanogo Ibrahima du service d'hématologie clinique du CHU de Coubon à Abidjan, en Côte d'Ivoire. Je voudrais, à l'entame de cette intervention, saluer la Fédération mondiale d'hémophilie, les dirigeants de cette fédération qui ont initié ce jumelage entre nous et les cliniques universitaires Saint-Luc de Belgique. Et saluer par la même occasion l'équipe de cette clinique dirigée par le professeur Hermans, laquelle équipe a mis en œuvre le jumelage sur le terrain. Notre jumelage, qui a duré à peu près 4 ans, a été positif à plus d'un titre pour nous, à 3 niveaux. Premièrement, au niveau du diagnostic, nous avons bénéficié d'un apport régulier en réactif, ce qui nous a permis de poser le diagnostic chez nos patients situation qui n'était pas évidente antérieurement. Et surtout, au plan diagnostic, nous avons surtout bénéficié d'un renforcement de capacité qui nous a permis de faire le diagnostic des inhibiteurs chez les patients. Ça aussi, c'est un acquis important. En ce qui concerne le deuxième point, le deuxième impact positif du jumelage, c'est au niveau thérapeutique. Au niveau thérapeutique, effectivement, nous avons pu faire bénéficier nos patients premièrement de la prophylaxie. La prophylaxie, nous avons 24 enfants que nous avons suivis qui bénéficient de cette prophylaxie et ça améliore le tableau clinique. Au plan thérapeutique, toujours, nous avons bénéficié à côté de la prophylaxie, de la kinésithérapie. Tous les enfants chez lesquels il y avait une indication de kinésithérapie ont bénéficié effectivement de cette prise en charge. Et surtout, les enfants ont bénéficié pour une grande part de la formation à l'autokinésithérapie, qui est une méthode thérapeutique très performante dans la mesure où elle permet d'anticiper sur la prise en charge des ankyloses et des malformations articulaires. Toujours au point de vue thérapeutique, au plan thérapeutique, on a un certain nombre de patients qui ont bénéficié de la circoncision au bloc opératoire et ça s'est bien passé. 6 enfants en ont bénéficié sans complications évolutives. Et puis enfin, au point de vue thérapeutique, on a 4 enfants qui ont pu bénéficier de synovioorthèse et nous avons pu implémenter cette technique avec des résultats aussi intéressants. Enfin, au point de vue de la formation, sans dénier que tous ces acquis ont été basés, c'est la formation pratique. Mais il faut signaler aussi au passage que l'association des hémophiles de Côte d'Ivoire a bénéficié, elle aussi, d'un coaching en termes de management d'une association de ce type. Et ce qui a permis aussi à cette association de renforcer ses capacités et se prendre en charge dans ce domaine-là. Voilà un peu résumé nos acquis. Je profite pour encore une fois remercier les deux équipes.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, it's a honor and a great pleasure to receive today with my Ivorian colleagues the 2018 Twinning Award. I'm Catherine Lambert, hematologist at the Hemophilia Treatment Center of the Clinique Universitaire Saint-Luc in Brussels, Belgium. I'm representing the Belgian team that also includes Professor Cédric Hermans and Dr. Sébastien Lobet. In the setting of the partnership with the Hemophilia Treatment Center of Yopougon in Abidjan, several actions were successfully carried out over the last years to improve hemophilia care in Côte d'Ivoire. That includes the identification and multidisciplinary assessment of more than 117 persons with hemophilia and 80 carriers, the molecular characterization of hemophilia among 54 Ivorian families, the introduction of a logbook to record bleeds and their treatments, the development and implementation of a culturally adapted educational material and a locally appropriate self-rehabilitation program, and the creation of a local patient registry and the participation of Côte d'Ivoire to WBDR. All these actions and the increase of the WFH humanitarian aid allocation contributed to develop a favorable environment to start prophylaxis in 25 young boys with hemophilia since January 2018. To end, I would like to thank the WFH for this unique opportunity to participate to a great human adventure. Thank you and take care.
Hi everybody, it's nice to meet you. My name is Pujo from Hemophilia Treatment Center of Dr. Sarjit Hospital in Jakarta, Faculty of Medicine, Public Health and Nursing Universitas Gajah Mada in Indonesia. Here I met you just for sharing my experiences during 5 years. In the last 5 years, we have organized a clinic program with our colleagues from our study center, namely Hemophilia Clinic in Utrecht. It was led by Dr. Evelyn in Scotland and also Mr. Peter Klein. From that training program, we have generated some activities. There are symposia and also workshop and also some activities to train others practical skill for people with hemophilia. This workshop and symposia also attended by not only the general practitioner but also the internal medicine or colleague from the surgery, from medical rehabilitation, and also from dentists and other people that they were parents and also from public to increase their awareness on hemophilia. And then now after that we are still organize a registration for people with hemophilia in Yogyakarta and surrounding, after which we will develop a mobile application to make a bridge between people with hemophilia in the remote area to our center for better service. So the aim of our activities don't just to help people with hemophilia to obtain, to achieve their quality of life as best as possible. And then last but not least, we would like to thank the World Federation of Hemophilia who give some support and kind of facilities that make this training program realize in good condition. I hope you are enjoying it and have a nice day. See you next time.
Dear all, we first of all would like to thank the WFH for sponsoring the Twinning program and for rewarding our work with the Twinning of the Year award. We also thank our private sponsors who made it possible to come with so many specialists to Indonesia. We have a double twinning with Yogyakarta and Solo on the island of Java. As clotting factor is scarce in Indonesia, people are poor and distances long. Many hemophilia patients suffer from disabling bleeds and arthropathy. They often do not go to school and have no job, resulting in a poor quality of life. Therefore, the focus of our twinning was on rehabilitation and participation, so people can have schooling and make their own income and become independent of their family. The multidisciplinary approach was not very well known in Indonesia, and rehabilitation and social support were no part of hemophilia care. The multidisciplinary team of the Van Creveld consisted of me, Evelyn Mauser, hemophilia specialist, Peter Klein, raise your hand, Merel Timmer, physiotherapist, Ruud Bos, who's on holidays unfortunately, and Caspar van Kopenhagen, rehabilitation specialist. Through symposia, workshops, bedside teaching, hydrotherapy sessions and home visits, we try to improve awareness and standard of care. Special home visits gave us a good insight in what it means to have hemophilia in Indonesia, sitting at home, not going to school and being disabled. Dr. Pujo and Dr. Ritza did a great job by setting up a multidisciplinary team and improved the adequate and standardized use of clotting factor. They made rehabilitation part of treatment and realized that there is more required than clotting factor. After each bleed, rehabilitation and exercises should be given. Compared to clotting factor, this is very cheap. They now involve social workers if indicated. Also, the use of aids like crutches and shoe adaptations was initiated, which require a lot of scarce clotting factor and affect general health. Now a dentist will be added to the team and patients will be seen during yearly checkup by a dentist too. It was a great pleasure working with the Jogja and Solo team, and we thank Dr. Ritza and Pujo for their teams for organizing our visits and its programs, and of course for their hospitality, and last but not least their huge efforts to improve quality of life of patients with hemophilia. Thanks to them, the twinning was a great success and the patients have a future. Thank you.
I am so impressed by the accomplishments of these partnerships. I know firsthand what it's like to go to a country and see the effect that twinning has on the people and to develop relationships across the world. Congratulations to the winners of the 2018 and 2019 HTC of the Year Award. And now, here are the winners of the 2018 and 2019 Hemophilia Organization Twins of the Year.
I greet you all, honorable delegates, attending the World Federation of Hemophilia Virtual Summit 2020. My name is Samuel Macharia from the Kenya Hemophilia Association. On behalf of the Kenya Hemophilia Association, I wish to say we are extremely humbled and delighted to receive the 2018 Hemophilia Organization Twinning of the Year Award. This prize recognizes the achievements made by the Kenya Hemophilia Association and our partner twin, the Hemophilia Scotland. In 2018, our collaborative partnership with Hemophilia Scotland helped us realize great improvements in treatment and care for people living with hemophilia and other bleeding disorders. Some of the activities undertaken in 2018 include capacity building of the KHA leadership, youth empowerment through mentorship and workshops, identification and support of women bleeders, as well as resource mobilization. We also focused on lobbying government for recognition of hemophilia as a form of disability and helping members claim their legal rights. The two organizations remain fully committed to ensuring that our members receive the highest standards of treatment and care. We wish to thank Hemophilia Scotland for choosing to partner with us, which has helped improve service delivery to our members. We are also very grateful to the World Federation of Hemophilia for recognizing our efforts and also for the support you have given the Kenya Hemophilia Association over the years.
Hello, my name is Alex and I'm the Engagement Officer at Hemophilia Scotland. On behalf of Hemophilia Scotland, it is an honour to be receiving the Twinning of the Year Award for 2018. In 2018, the WFH Congress was hosted in our own country, in Glasgow. Our friends from Kenya came out and joined us there, and they met with our staff, our trustees, and a few of our members. The day before Congress, we hosted a board training with our board of trustees and some of the KHA. I remember feeling at the time that it's reassuring and heartening to know that despite the different countries and contexts that we come from, there are still challenges that we mutually share and are not exclusive to just us, such as fundraising and raising awareness. Being able to jointly work together and see what's been working and isn't working for each other has been an enriching experience for us. More recently, this year in February, a couple of volunteers and myself visited our friends in Kenya. We toured the main Hemophilia Centre at Kenyatta National Hospital and were introduced to the hero staff there, and we ran focus groups with the parents and young adults of the KHA. We also visited a rural clinic and made a couple of home visits, and through these focus groups and home visits we heard so many stories of hardship and difficulty, but personally I was blown away by the resilience that the people had and the determination and drive of the KHA to support and improve the conditions for Kenya's bleeding disorders community. In the time they've been in existence, the KHA has been responsible for the establishment of hemophilia clinics in numerous counties, making hemophilia care more accessible than ever to Kenya. They have a goal to have a hemophilia clinic in each county in the country, and with their persistence and dogged determination, I am confident they'll be able to do this. Through our partnership with the KHA, Hemophilia Scotland is offering our insight and experience and mobilising resources to fund projects, and will work with the KHA to devise a fundraising strategy. I was told an African proverb when I was there: a little fills the basket. One clinic at a time, one new diagnosis at a time, the KHA's presence in Kenya is leading to paramount change for individuals and families across the country. So thank you to the KHA for not only establishing a partnership between us, but a friendship. Kenya is an absolutely beautiful country. You must visit. But their vistas and wildlife have nothing on the warmth, hospitality and friendliness of its people. We look forward to hosting them when they come out to Scotland again, but we can't promise it'll be as sunny and warm though. Thanks to the WFH for your support and for enabling these close ties between our organisations to happen. And thank you for acknowledging our partnership with the Twinning of the Year Award.
On behalf of National Member Organization of Madagascar, I am really honored to represent the hemophilia people with hemophilia in Madagascar, with on my left the president of this Malagasy National Member Organization, Hemophilia in Madagascar, Dr. Fede André, and on the premises of the Joseph Ravangede Hospital, which houses the reference center of treatment of hemophilia in Madagascar. We are extremely happy and especially proud to receive this Twinning Award 2020 of the World Federation of Hemophilia. It is rewarding of 10 years of upstream work, as Mr. Bouchez, our twin Brittany, would say, alongside of Dr. Alain Marquez from Clermont-Ferrand Hospital and his team. Really, we are extremely proud, and we address our deepest esteem to the WFH, which is the which initiated this twinning program. The twinning was pronounced in 2018 and will be finished in 2021. The Malagasy people will continue to move forward, strengthened by all he received from this twinning program initiated by the WFH, to whom we really again address our deepest esteem, and to our twin all our gratitude. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I am very happy to be with you today. Because my English is so bad, let me continue in French. Je suis très heureux de recevoir le prix des jumelages 2019 au nom de l'Association de Bretagne des hémophiles vibrantes. Ce prix, bien sûr, est dédié à toutes celles et ceux qui se mobilisent chaque jour pour un mieux vivre de l'hémophilie. J'y associe le CHU de Clermont-Ferrand et le docteur Alain Marquez qui m'accompagnait sur ce jumelage. Cette distinction vient récompenser 10 ans de travail en amont. L'historique de Madagascar, pour moi, a commencé avec une mission exploratoire en 2008 à la demande de la WFH. Après cette visite, j'ai décidé de mettre tout en œuvre pour que Madagascar puisse devenir un jour membre de la WFH. Cela évidemment a demandé de la persévérance. J'ai décidé de commencer le travail dans un cadre humanitaire avec l'association Support Santé Internationale que je préside. En 2009, 2010 et 2011, ce sont des visites d'évaluation médicale et associative et l'expédition de colis de petits matériels médical. À partir de 2013 jusqu'en 2015, le professeur Abkral mettra en place la prise en charge et le diagnostic avec des formations pour le personnel médical. Une kiné sera formée à Nantes pendant 1 mois. Durant toute cette période, c'est ASSI qui gère la logistique et qui finance les dépenses. À partir de 2015, la FAT de l'AFH se joint au projet. Durant ce temps, ASSI mettra en place plusieurs matériels de la chaîne du froid. En 2018, un jumelage est prononcé entre Madagascar et l'Association de Bretagne des hémophiles, dont je suis vice-président. Dans ce cadre, les formations ont continué et nous avons créé 4 antennes régionales. Cette tâche a pu être menée à bien grâce à la volonté des amis malgaches, médecins et associatifs, qui avaient l'envie de réussir. Nous avons également réussi à faire reconnaître la pathologie par le ministère de la Santé. Le jumelage prendra fin en 2021. Les malgaches devront continuer à avancer. Mais pour moi, cela ne sera pas fini, car je pense que d'autres rivages m'attendent, le besoin étant encore grand. Merci beaucoup.
Wow, those are just really, it's amazing to hear what our twinning partnerships have been doing, particularly those recognized as Twins of the Year. And I can't speak for the organizational twinning side, but I imagine it's the same as it is on the treatment twinning committee side, where we have real struggles trying to pick Twins of the Year because so many partnerships are doing so much incredible work out there that trying to recognize those that have gone above and beyond is becoming an increasing challenge. So congratulations to all of our Twins of the Year and really to all the twins out there. Now, you've heard all the wonderful stuff we've been doing in twinning and that the twins have been accomplishing. I'm sure you're wondering what's changed in our new world reality, where clearly twinning visits can't be happening and it's a lot harder to stay in contact. But as we heard at the very beginning from Mr. Harold, it's even more important to stay connected. So we've got a couple of presentations now from people who can bring that perspective. So I'd like to invite Dr. Niamh O'Connell to give us a report on what's happening with the Amman Dublin HTC twinning program. Dr. O'Connell.
Thanks very much, and hello everybody in the WFH Twinning community. I'd like to start by saying how inspired I've been by hearing from both the HTC and HOT twins just now. I work in Dublin. I work in the main adult comprehensive care centre, and with my colleague Dr. Nolan in our paediatric haemophilia centre, we've recently embarked on a twinning partnership with our colleagues in the Al Bashir Hospital in Amman, Jordan. And we're very much new to the twinning family. I'm blown away by the experiences of the HTC and HOT twins, and we are really at the beginning of our twinning experience. Our patient organisation has been involved in HOT twinning in the past, but our haemophilia treatment centres have not. And so in 2018, when we went to visit our colleagues in Al Bashir Hospital in Jordan, this was really our first experience of twinning with a haemophilia centre in another country. And we'd like to think that our countries are very well matched, actually, because we have similar arrangements to our Hemophilia Treatment Organization. We have central comprehensive care centres linked to a number of haemophilia treatment centres that are in cities in more remote areas of our countries. And we have a very good connection in Ireland between our paediatric and our adult treatment centres. And in Al Bashir, they look after both kids and adults in their comprehensive care centre. We were lucky that before the current era of COVID-19, we were able to make 2 face-to-face visits to Al Bashir Hospital in Jordan. And we very much appreciate what that has brought to our twinning relationship. I'll give you a little bit of background on what those 2 face-to-face visits achieved for us in our twinning partnership, and how that has been a platform for us to set up a new twinning program that is going to have to deal with the realities of the restrictions that COVID-19 has brought to all of our countries worldwide. In our countries, as I've mentioned, we have central comprehensive care centres and linked associated treatment centres. But some other advantages that both countries have is, first and foremost, very active patient organisations. In Ireland, our Irish Haemophilia Society is a very well-established patient organisation, now in place over 50 years. They had their anniversary last year, which was a tremendous celebration for all of us. But in Jordan also, they have a fantastic patient organisation, the Jordanian Thalassemia and Haemophilia Society, which is equally committed and active and working also with the multidisciplinary team in the hospital. And then finally, in both countries, we do have a national oversight structure. In Ireland, it's called the National Hemophilia Council, but in Jordan also there's a National Hemophilia Committee. And I think that's really important. Some of your HTC twins and HOT twins mentioned the importance of having the government and health ministries involved in countries in order to achieve the change that we need for people with hemophilia and other bleeding disorders. The secret sauce, I think we feel in both our countries, is that we didn't have a language barrier, and we can see from some of our other twins that we've heard of that they were matched from a linguistic perspective, so that really helps with the communication. And also that we've had fantastic support, I'd have to say, from WFH, which has been really important as we begin our twinning journey, as really learning about twinning as we're going along. And then finally, we've got fantastic, as I say, patient support. We made a visit in 2018 in person to Al Bashir Hospital. You can see here that we made the visit in conjunction with our Hemophilia Organization. And that meant that we were really on the right road to ensuring that all of our efforts were going to be working together to achieve the right outcomes. When we were there in 2018, we were able to meet with patients who have hemophilia and other bleeding disorders, both through the patient organisation and also in the hospital setting. And we were able to really evaluate the comprehensive care that was already being delivered through the Hemophilia Centre in Al Bashir, their clinical and support facilities. But critically, we met with their local clinical and hospital senior managers. We need to get those people on board in order to move the agenda forward. And then finally, we did visit a number of other hemophilia treatment centres in the city of Amman, again, making sure that there's connection, communication and joint working across all of the services being provided. Our first formal twinning visit occurred in September of 2019, and this is a picture of us outside the Hemophilia Centre in Al Bashir Hospital and in the Paediatric Centre. We were honoured to be able to participate in patient reviews, but also to work with the multidisciplinary teams, again along similar themes that we've seen in some of the other twinning. We visited our laboratory and delivered on-site training. We saw their pharmacy, and we also saw the laboratory and took part in a symposium. The Ministry of Health meeting around patient registry is important, and our Jordanian colleagues were able to visit us in Dublin in November 2019. But that was then, and this is now. Our new reality, of course, is that COVID-19 has afflicted Ireland as well as Jordan and many other countries. And you can see that our whole country has been shut down for 3 months now. We're beginning to emerge from it. And so we've had to really assess our haemophilia services both in Jordan and Ireland to ensure that through the use of virtual technologies such as telehealth, through managing our factor stock deliveries and the availability of our staff, that we've been able to continue to provide both acute care and chronic care. And this has been the case in Ireland as well as in Jordan. But in post-COVID world, our face-to-face twinning visit in 2020 has been deferred. But we really felt that working together, we could build on the telehealth revolution that's already happened. We're doing our MDT meetings completely by telehealth. Our patient reviews are done by virtual consultation, video or telephone. And we have a platform for our twinning visits that have created the relationship that will allow us to move forward. So our approach for the next 12 months at least will be to have a program of monthly webinars on a video platform that will allow us to provide medical updates, multidisciplinary training, and I think has the potential to deliver more training from all of the disciplines that are important in our centres. We also feel that this is a platform that's flexible and can respond to changing circumstances, whether we're going in or out of restrictions as COVID proceeds. I suppose the one resource that's required is that both centres will need to have internet access and laptops and so forth to connect. So I'd really like to thank our Jordanian and Irish patients who've supported us hugely in this twinning journey, our multidisciplinary teams in the haemophilia treatment centres in Jordan and Ireland, and in particular Rana Saifi and the whole team in WFH who've supported us. I believe that the future for twinning is bright post-COVID. We'll just be doing it in a different format, exactly as we are today, but communicating fantastically well nonetheless. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. O'Connell. I think it's just a great example of how we can translate what we're doing in our routine clinical practices in our routine lives and adapt that into twinning. So I think that's great. And now we're going to move on to a perspective of the organizational twinning. And I'd like to welcome a representative from the Philippines Canada Hot Twinning, Mr. John Sarmenta.
Hi, so good day, everyone. Greetings from Manila in the Philippines. And today I'll be presenting our experience with our the hot twinning with the Canadian Hemophilia Society. So I'm from Hemophilia Philippines, or also known as Haplos Community Foundation, and I would like to give you a quick overview of next slide. Okay, there. Okay. So, so to start off my presentation, I'd like to give us a quick overview of what our HOT twinning was about before COVID. So we started in 2018, had our assessment in 2016, late 2016, and what we assessed from what they assessed what that was needed for the twinning was to focus more on organizational strengthening and development. This is already our second twinning. Our first one was way back in the 90s, and in this 2010s, and this time period, we determined that what our NMO needed to level up and improve our services to the hemophilia community was really to improve our organizational capacities, improve on our chapter formation and development, further develop and retain volunteers and train them further, and have more effective fundraising programs. Okay, so why am I showing a map here? This is a map of the unique situation of the Philippines. We are a nation of 7,000 islands, so you would imagine that this will present its own unique challenges. And actually, many of our challenges are simply getting from one island to another. From one of our assessments, for one member to attend the meeting, sometimes it will take up to 13 hours, and that was simply on the same island. So you can imagine planning out programs and coordinating in person proved to be quite the challenge, and even invigorating or retaining the commitment of chapters and members in other islands was a big challenge for us. So this is why we actually sought to expand the use of online and electronic tools. And it's actually a bit of a silver lining, or serendipity, you would say, that the way we approach this twinning uh, turned out to be a big positive in this time of COVID, because before COVID, we were already sought to address the need to service several isolated islands. But now in this world of COVID, every nation and even every town and every community is an isolated island, physically at least. So we sought to address these logistical challenges. So twinning before 2020 involved training of our members, our officers, um, in many of the electronic tools we have available to us in the modern age. So some of these are like Zoom meetings, organizing and keeping alive Facebook groups and chats, and conducting webinars. We had two in the past 2 years, and these were pretty successful in really training our chapter leaders, and we were able to conduct online polls as well, and utilize online surveys to conduct some data gathering for use in our policy planning and strategic planning. And we're able to use more cloud file sharing and online documents. Alongside these electronic tools, our twinning also involved training workshops and chapter formation site visits. And as you can see here, some pictures, these were really some of the highlights of our twinning, because it was a way that we really could engage with our prospective chapters, partners, and you can see here the Canadian Hemophilia Society sent their resource persons, and overall it was really a fun and engaging time for everyone, and really helped consolidate that commitment and activity from the chapters. So this was a development workshop in 2019 and 2018, respectively in leadership and volunteer development. Next slides. Okay. And actually, recently in February, we were able to conduct a strategic planning right before the lockdowns started. And part of the twinning also involved developing documents, which we coordinated through online email exchanges and the use of cloud file sharing like Google Documents and Google Drive. Okay. One of the highlights of our twinning was really the chapter formation, where our members and some of our community leaders visited various regions to develop the chapters. As you can see here, one of the ways to really help people commit and be engaged with us was really through these inside visits, which were multidisciplinary. We brought doctors over and we had the meal with them and we had the workshop. It was both educational and involved the participation of the attendees. That was before COVID, and this is what it. The unfortunate reality. This is what we have now. It's all boiled down to. You can see here portrait squares. The human interaction is limited to a Zoom call, and one picture here is one of our subcommittees actually in with the Canadian Hemophilia Society, and this other picture here is actually a monumental feat in itself. We had our first community Zoom meeting, which had more than 30 members, and for a country in the Philippines, which is notorious for its bad internet, this was a big undertaking. This was a big accomplishment. We feel to be able to train people and organize a Zoom meeting with all these different peoples from all walks of life. Okay, so during COVID lockdown, in the past few months since the lockdown started, computer-based work, which was a bulk of our twinning, which is coordinating meetings, email communications, and writing of the documents, continued as usual. And we were retaining our communication with the Canadian Hemophilia Society. But sad to say, greatly reduced were many of our site visits, which many of us were looking forward to. And we will need to probably defer and actually delay up to next year. Many of our committee gatherings and workshops are on hold and look to be redesigned to become webinars. Some challenges and future considerations I'd just like to point out. From our experience with working electronically and online, there are time zones to consider, work schedules of everyone, of course. But some things I'd point out in this point of time is really an uncertainty with conducting any form of public activity and program. Actually, one unfortunate thing that happened recently was lockdown was heightened again and actually enhanced and became stricter in some regions of our country. So in the next year, there's a lot of uncertainty and apprehension with what might happen, especially as we face this pandemic. Another thing I'd like to point out is aside from the competency in the use of electronic tools, of course, it's a barrier of entry, but it's easy enough to train someone in to log in and use email, to use Zoom, or to start a group chat. But something that slowly has started to creep up in the past couple of months is what I'd like to term electronics fatigue. As you can see, managing calls, all those emails. Right now, I'm looking at the screen in order to interact with someone from across the world. I have my screen here in front of me. I have multiple emails, and every day, many of our members are managing dozens of emails and social media chat. It can all be overwhelming, and I'd like to point out this is a consideration that as we continue to work online, will be good to think about and how we may address this in a better management, and maybe in the mental health aspect, alongside learning competency. So overall, we'd like to review and update these roles and responsibilities, and update our expectations in this mostly online world. As right now, this is all we have, considering this pandemic. So twinning adjustments. We'd like to, given everything that's happened, we'd like to revisit our action plan for these 4 years, and then maybe look to identify what we can continue this year and what we can defer to next year, including financial considerations. We'll need to review our plans, and one of the things we talked about with the Canadian Hemophilia Society might be to consider asking for an exceptional 1 year extension of this twinning partnership. Overall, we would like to say that we have been fairly adjusting, and it has still been a good experience, and definitely positives. Many positives have come from this COVID experience, such as, like I said, many of our members have become more trained and competent in the use of online, which will later on down the road further help our efforts in chapter formation and really engaging the community, not just in person. So I'd like to thank you very much to the WFH, to the Canadian Hemophilia Society for having us speak here, and yeah, okay.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Niamh. It is very inspiring and encouraging to see how you guys are still working together with your twins to do such important work. I see that some of you have submitted questions in the Q&A box. I want to thank you for that. Please keep submitting your questions. Remember that we're going to go to the virtual lounge after the session is over to go over those questions and answer them. Now we have our last speaker for this session today. It's the interim head of the Programs and Education team at WFH, Ms. Luisa Durante.
Hi, everybody. Bonjour, buenos dias, bon pomeriggio a tutti. It's great that you're all here joining us for this virtual session. I think that John said it really well when he said that there's a need to connect in so many different ways to the community. And we're able to do this virtually, though I'm sure all of us are a lot on Zoom calls and we're at this virtual summit, but it's great that you're all here with us. Something that's really important to think about in twinning, and that's been mentioned over and over in this presentation, is about connection, engagement. What is the twinning program really for? It's really about fostering sustainability, creating relationships, building healthy and strong patient organizations. It's also about ensuring that there's better care and treatment for patients worldwide with hemophilia as well as other bleeding disorders. So building up our HTCs so that they have the ability and the capacity to be able to do that. We've seen, I think, through all these different examples with the Twins of the Year Award, as well as with the Philippines and Canada twin, and as well as the Ireland Jordan twin, how much can still be done in times of COVID. It asks for creativity, resilience. A lot of resilience has been seen. A lot of the twinning partnerships have found ways to work around and adapt to the situation. This is a time where we need connection more than ever. And it's really wonderful to see that through the twinning program, this is happening with or without COVID. There's still a lot of needs, and the program really serves to respond to these needs overall. One of the things that keeps coming out over and over is really about empowering the community. For the community, the twinning program has a lot of tangible outcomes. There's the tangible outcomes in terms of the development of the centers, but there's also the outcomes in terms of the patients, the changes of lives, the quality of lives of patients worldwide. Patients feel empowered. They feel that they can advocate for a change, and they can do more within their own communities. And we see this all throughout. The twinning program is stronger than ever, and I'm happy to say that over the past 2 years, we've also added the youth component to the program, which has had a really important impact. It's about developing youth leaders, ensuring succession, and comes back to the question of fostering sustainability, which we see more and more really does have a long-term impact for our patients. It's successful. Something that a lot of my colleagues will know that I say very often is onwards. We need to go onwards. We need to keep building partnerships. We need to keep engaging, making sure there's connection. Now and going forward, we have the ability to create really positive change, and we are doing it. Having worked on many twinning programs myself in partnerships, I can tell you really that this program has a transformative impact on the bleeding disorders community. And it really is inspiring to see all the ways we can troubleshoot in times of challenges, such as now with COVID. As been shown that there's been still a lot of engagement, we're finding other ways to do things because the need is still there. The need is really to keep improving treatment for our patients as well as empowering our whole community. That need is always there, and it's something that we're continuously working on through the twinning program. I just want to mention that I think, it's really important to reiterate the long-lasting impacts of this program overall and how long these impacts last really on a long-term basis for all of our community, particularly touching the hearts of our patients and families, really empowering our healthcare professionals to feel that they have the ability as well to really treat patients adequately. So it has had a really long-lasting impact, a very important and essential to the bleeding disorder community, really being able to foster this connection. The title of this session was all about connection, and I think we've seen it over and over, that we really need to keep maintaining this connection and building the community in these ways more and more, and really build a sense of empowerment, which we see happens through the twinning program. Congratulations to all the winners of Twins of the Year Award, and congratulations to all of you that form part of these partnerships, past partnerships, current partnerships. The work that you're doing really does make a difference. So thank you, all of you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Luisa. And thanks also to Niamh and John for your excellent presentations. It's great to see how twinning is working and how we're working through these incredible changes. And finally, again, a last big shout out and thank you to Pfizer for continuing their support of the twinning program.
Thank you to those of you who have joined us from far and close by. I see so many countries in the box. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. We hope that you will join us at the next virtual twinning event, which we will have later in the year. Continue to write your questions. We have taken note of your questions. We're taking them to the lounge with us. So after the session, click on the lounge tab and you'll be right at the Q&A session with us. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Excellent. And for those of you who can't come and join us in the Q&A session, enjoy the rest of this morning or this afternoon or this evening at the virtual summit. Stay safe, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.